All right, so you're getting ready for a title closer interview, and you were smart enough to grab RoleCatcher's resources, I see. Career guides, interview guides, even FAQs, a whole package.
It's really smart because lots of people think title closer is just paperwork, but it's so much more.
Right, much more than that.
You're the one making sure that transfer of ownership goes smoothly legally and is stress-free for everybody.
Okay, so more like the person leading an orchestra, making sure all the instruments are playing well together.
Exactly. And since we're talking about performing well, let's look at those interview questions. RoleCatcher found 9 common ones you'll probably be asked. So let's break them down one by one.
Sounds good to me. Let's get strategic. How about we start with the classic one? How did you get started in title closing?
That question is your chance to really show why you're passionate about real estate, highlight those skills you have, experiences that fit. They want to know what got you interested in this field.
So it's more than just listing your old jobs. It's about sharing your story, that genuine interest.
Exactly. Maybe tell a little story that shows your passion. Like maybe you saw a really smooth closing that got you inspired, or the legal stuff about owning property always fascinated you.
And I bet if you have experience in something similar, like administrative work or customer service, it's good to highlight those skills too, right?
For sure, those are transferable skills. Now, let's say you nailed that first question and they hit you with this one. What do you think are the most important qualities for a successful title closer?
Okay, that one sounds like they're testing me, seeing if I did my research.
You good. This is where you show you really understand the role. So zero in on stuff like attention to detail, accuracy, good communication, problem solving, being able to handle pressure.
So more than just listing them, right? Give examples that back them up.
Exactly. Maybe a time you found a really bad error or how you handled a tough client gracefully. Show them you have what it takes.
Speaking of tough situations, I bet they ask this a lot. How do you ensure accuracy in your work?
Oh, yes, this is your time to dive into your process. So explain step by step how you make sure things are accurate. Things like double-checking calculations, making sure info is right, using multiple sources. You can even mention tools or techniques you use.
So it's about showing you have a system. You're not just winging it.
Exactly. And it's not just about finding those errors, but preventing them in the first place.
Okay, makes sense. So let's say they're really impressed with all this accuracy talk. What's next?
They might want to get into your expertise a bit, so be ready for what is your experience with reviewing and interpreting title reports?
Now we're getting into the core of the job, right?
Absolutely. So be ready to talk about how familiar you are with title reports, things like finding red flags, understanding legal descriptions, getting those complex details. This is where any training or certifications you have can really shine.
Okay, so it's not just knowing what's in the report, but what it means and how to use it.
Exactly. And a great way to show that is share a specific example of how you use your knowledge to maybe solve a problem or prevent something bad from happening. It shows you can apply what you know in real situations.
Love it. We are on a roll. Before we get to the next question, I want to switch gears a bit and talk about RoleCatcher's AI. Have you had a chance to use their interview guides?
Oh, yeah, those are great. They have over 120,000 practice interview questions for tons of careers and skills. But the AI feedback is what's really cool.
Right. It looks at your answers and gives you suggestions, like having a personal coach to make your answers better and show off the schools that matter most for the job.
And that's key because sometimes changing just a word or two can make a huge difference in how your answer comes across.
So it's all about presenting yourself in the best light possible. Okay, let's get back to those questions. What else might they ask?
Be prepared for how do you manage multiple transactions simultaneously?
So this is all about showing how organized I am and how I manage my time right.
You got it. Emphasize that you can prioritize, meet deadlines, stay organized when you have a lot of things going on. Maybe talk about calendars, task management apps, or color-coded files. Anything to show you have a system.
And don't forget about being flexible and staying calm when things get crazy.
For sure, they want to see that you can handle the pressure, especially when the market is busy. Okay, now let's talk about one that can be a bit tricky. How do you handle difficult or challenging clients?
That's the one everyone wants to know about. Every title closer has some stories, I'm sure.
This is where you show you have good people skills and can navigate those sticky situations professionally.
So no complaining about tough clients. Show how you can turn a bad situation into a good one.
Exactly. Maybe share an example of a time you successfully dealt with a difficult client. Really focus on how you listen, communicate clearly, and find a solution that works for everyone.
And I'm guessing it's good to mention how you keep those relationships positive even when it's hard.
Absolutely. It's all about showing you can stay calm and keep things moving in the right direction. Okay. We've done some tough ones so far. What else should we be ready for?
Right, what else?
Next up is one that gets to the heart of legal stuff. How do you ensure compliance with all relevant laws and regulations in your work?
Okay, this is where I get to show off my knowledge of all the laws and my commitment to doing things the right way.
Exactly. Highlight your knowledge of relevant laws and regulations like RESPA and TILA, mention training certifications, and how you stay up to date on changes.
So I need to show them I know the rules and I'm actively staying informed.
You got it. And it's okay to mention that you would ask legal professionals for guidance when needed. Shows you're committed to doing things right.
All right, let's take a quick break from these questions and talk about how RoleCatcher can actually help you tailor your answers for specific jobs. Their AI is pretty amazing, right?
Yeah. It really is. It can analyze job descriptions and suggest ways to highlight your best qualifications. So instead of a general answer, you can make a response that speaks directly to what that employer needs.
So it's like having a secret advantage that helps you stand out from the crowd. Okay, back to the questions. What's next on the list?
Get ready for how do you stay organized and manage your workload effectively?
This one sounds like it's more for senior roles, am I right? Showcasing leadership skills and being able to handle more responsibility.
You got it. Highlight your ability to delegate, prioritize, and use technology to streamline your work. Maybe mention project management stuff like Agile or Scrum.
And communication is key, right?
Right. As a senior title closer, you're often leading a team, so clear communication and being able to provide guidance are super important. Now let's do the last one in this set. Can you give an example of a particularly challenging transaction you have worked on and how you handled it?
The classic, tell me about a time when, question, this is our time to shine.
It is. So pick an example that shows how you solve problems and think on your feet. Walk them through the situation, what was hard, what you did, and how it ended.
And what about the lessons you learned and how you've used them since then?
Exactly. It shows them you can not only handle tough stuff, but that you learn and grow from those experiences. Remember, this is just a taste of what you might get in a title closer interview. But by prepping with resources like RoleCatcher and practicing those answers, you can walk in with confidence and land your dream job.
That was incredibly helpful. I feel much more ready to handle those questions now, and I'm excited to learn more about those career paths you mentioned. But I guess that's a conversation for another part of our deep dive.
Definitely. We'll get into career progression, specializations, and the future of the title closer role in the next one, so stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of title closers.
Okay, so we've covered all those tough interview questions. Hopefully now you're feeling pretty good about landing that job.
Exactly. You nailed the interview, aced it, and got the job. Congratulations. But what's next? Where does this career actually go?
Yeah, I'm picturing myself a few years down the line, closing those deals like a pro mastering those title reports. But then what?
Well, don't underestimate the value of getting really good at what you do. The more experience you have, the more you know, the more valuable you become to your company.
So like becoming that go-to title closer,
Yeah.
the expert that everyone relies on for the tough stuff.
Exactly. You might even find yourself mentoring new people, taking on more complicated deals, or even focusing on a specific area in real estate.
Oh, specializing. That sounds interesting. What kind of areas are we talking about?
Well, think about all the different types of properties out there. You could focus on residential real estate, helping families buy their dream homes, or maybe dive into commercial real estate, working on big projects like office buildings or shopping centers.
Because you're saying a title closer could kind of choose their own adventure, tailor their career to what they're interested in.
Absolutely. And the career guides from RoleCatcher can really help you explore those options. They break down what each job entails, the skills you need, and even potential salaries for different specialties.
So it's like a map that helps you see where you could go and pick the best route to get there.
Exactly. But what's even cooler is that your title closer experience opens doors beyond just title companies. You could go into all sorts of related fields.
You mean like becoming a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, or even a real estate attorney?
Precisely. Those skills you've honed as a title closer, knowing contracts, property law, and how real estate transactions work, are valuable in all those areas.
It's like a superpower you can take with you anywhere in the real estate world. But let's say I'm really loving being a title closer and want to become a true expert. What are some ways to really up my game?
That's the spirit. Continuous learning is so important here. The real estate world is constantly changing. New laws, regulations, and technologies popping up all the time.
So how do you stay ahead of the curve? Is it all about reading those super long legal journals?
Well, staying on top of legal changes is definitely important. But there are more fun ways to learn too. Attending industry conferences is a great way to connect with other professionals, hear from the experts, and really get a feel for what's new and trending.
Okay, that sounds way more exciting than being stuck with legal texts.
Yeah.
What about online resources? Are there any websites, courses, or podcasts you recommend?
Tons. There are webinars, podcasts, online courses that can help you really dive deep into specific areas. RoleCatcher also has a library of skill guides that can help you figure out your strengths and weaknesses and suggest areas you could improve in.
So it's like a buffet of learning options. You can pick and choose what works best for you.
Exactly. And if you're looking for something more formal, something to add to your resume, certifications are a great option.
Okay, so what certifications should a title closer be thinking about?
Two of the most well-known ones are the Certified Title Closer, CTC, and the Certified Real Estate Closer, CREC.
Those sound pretty impressive.
Well,
What do you have to do to get them?
usually you take a course and then pass an exam that covers things like real estate law, title insurance principles, closing procedures, and ethical practices.
So it's not just about practical skills, but also proving you understand the legal and ethical side of the job.
Exactly. These certifications show you're committed to your profession and can even help you move up in your career faster.
It's like leveling up your character in a video game, gaining new skills, unlocking achievements.
Exactly. And speaking of leveling up, let's not forget about RoleCatcher's AI.
Right, RoleCatcher isn't just for interview prep.
Nope. Their AI can help you throughout your whole career, from exploring different paths to developing your skills and staying up to date on industry trends.
Like having a personal career advisor right there in your pocket.
Exactly. It's about giving you the power to manage your career and reach your full potential. But we've talked a lot about the exciting stuff now. Let's be real. What are some of the challenges that aspiring title closers should be ready for?
Right, no job is perfect. What are some of the things that keep a title closer up at night?
Well, one of the biggest things is the demanding nature of the work. You'll be juggling lots of deadlines, dealing with complex legal stuff, and navigating the emotional roller coaster of real estate transactions.
So it's not for the faint of heart. You need to be organized, handle pressure, and stay calm.
Exactly. And remember those client interactions we talked about.
Yeah, those clients that make you wonder why you chose this job.
While most clients are great, you will have to deal with some difficult personalities. It's super important to have good communication skills and be able to handle those tricky situations smoothly.
Sounds like a title closer needs to be a master of diplomacy, part legal expert, part therapist, part air traffic controller.
Haha, I like that analogy. And let's not forget about the constant need to stay updated on all the legal and regulatory changes.
Right, the real estate world never stops moving, so you have to keep learning.
Exactly. It's not a job where you can just coast. You need to be proactive, adaptable, and always want to learn more.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I have a much better understanding of what it means to be a title closer, the good and the bad.
We've covered a lot, but there's still more to explore.
Absolutely. In the final part, we'll tackle some frequently asked questions about being a title closer. Nice and concise answers that everyone wants to know.
And we'll leave you with something to think about as you continue exploring the world of real estate.
Right, welcome back to our final part of this deep dive, all about title closers.
We've looked at what they do, tackled those interview questions, and even talked about where this career can take you.
So now let's switch gears a bit and answer some common questions about this job. Clear up any mysteries.
Exactly. Think of it as our title closer FAQ.
Perfect. I bet our listeners have tons of questions. Let's start with a simple one. What exactly does a title closer do?
Well, a title closer does a lot, actually. They review and make sure important documents like contracts, settlement statements, mortgages, and title insurance policies are all correct and legal.
So, like making sure everything's above board, protecting both the buyer and seller.
Exactly. They also prepare settlement statements, which outline all the money stuff involved in the transaction.
So good with numbers, comfortable with all those financial calculations.
Definitely. And they also work with everyone involved, like the lenders, attorneys, and real estate agents to make sure everything runs smoothly.
Sounds like they need to be good at multitasking, keeping everything moving.
You got it. Another big thing is doing title searches, which means looking for any potential problems or claims on the property.
Oh, so like a detective digging into the history of the property, making sure there are no hidden surprises.
Exactly. And once those issues are cleared up, they play a key role in the closing itself, guiding both the buyers and sellers through the final paperwork and making sure everyone signs what they need to.
Okay, responsibilities. Check. Now, what about skills? What are the absolute must-haves for a title closer to be successful?
Attention to detail, that's number one. Even a small mistake in a legal document can cause big problems.
Right, no pressure.
You also need to be super organized and good at managing your time. Remember, they're often juggling multiple closings at the same time.
So, being able to prioritize, meet deadlines without getting overwhelmed.
Absolutely. Strong communication skills are key too. They're constantly talking to clients, agents, attorneys. So being clear and communicating well builds trust and makes the process smooth.
So it's not just about legal stuff, it's about explaining complicated things so everyone understands and making people feel comfortable.
You nailed it. And don't forget about problem-solving skills. Unexpected things happen. And a title closer needs to be able to think quickly and find solutions that work for everyone.
So quick on their feet, adaptable.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about something a lot of people want to know. What education or qualifications do you need to become a title closer?
Right. Do you need a law degree or something?
Not always. Some employers might want someone with a bachelor's degree in a related field like real estate business or finance, but it's not always required.
Okay, so some wiggle room there. What about experience? Do you need to have worked in real estate before?
It helps, but lots of employers provide on-the-job training for entry-level positions.
That's good news for anyone wanting to get into this field, but you still need certain skills right from the start.
Absolutely. Those core skills we talked about, attention to detail, organization, communication, those are essential.
And I bet those certifications we mentioned, the CTC or CREC, those can really make a difference, especially if you don't have a formal degree.
Definitely. They show you're dedicated to your profession and that you have specific knowledge.
All right, education and qualifications covered. Now, what about the work environment? What's a typical day like for a title closer?
Most title closers work in offices, mostly at title companies, law firms, real estate agencies, or mortgage companies.
So lots of time at a desk surrounded by paperwork.
That's the classic image. But technology is changing things. Lots of title closers are using digital platforms and online tools to make their work easier.
So less about pushing paper, more about using technology to be efficient and accurate.
Exactly, and while most of the work is in the office, title closers might sometimes travel to closings, meet clients, or visit properties to check details.
So some variety, a chance to get out of the office.
Exactly. Now let's be honest. Every job has its downsides. What are some of the challenges title closers face?
Right. There's no perfect job, so what keeps them up at night?
Tight deadlines can be tough. Real estate deals involve lots of people, each with their own schedule, so meeting those deadlines can be stressful.
Fast-paced environment. Got to stay calm under pressure.
Absolutely. And remember, accuracy is super important. Even a small mistake can have big consequences, so you always have to be careful.
High stakes for sure. What other challenges are there?
Like we mentioned before, difficult clients can be a real test of your patience. Emotions run high in real estate.
Takes a special kind of person to stay cool when everyone else is stressed.
You said it. Another challenge is staying on top of all the real estate laws and regulations. They're always changing, so you always have to be learning.
So it's a career that requires you to be constantly learning.
Exactly, but for people who like a challenge, enjoy detail-oriented work, and are passionate about real estate, it can be a really rewarding career.
Sounds like a good fit for someone who likes solving puzzles and making sure everything fits together perfectly.
That's a great way to put it. Before we wrap up, let's go back to a question we talked about earlier. How does a title closer really contribute to the whole real estate sales process?
Yeah, I think that's important because it shows how crucial this role really is.
A title closer is not just someone who shuffles papers. They're a big part of helping people with one of the biggest financial and emotional decisions they'll make.
They're helping people achieve their dreams of owning a home and making sure that process is smooth and legally sound.
Exactly. They provide peace of mind to everyone involved, making sure the property title is clear, the finances are in order, and all the legal requirements are met.
So the unsung heroes of the real estate world working behind the scenes to make those dreams come true.
Exactly. And with the right skills knowledge and maybe a little help from AI tools like RoleCatcher, you can build a really successful and fulfilling career as a title closer.
This has been amazing. I feel like we've covered everything about being a title closer.
It's been great diving into this with you.
Before we say goodbye, do you have that thought-provoking question? You mentioned something for our listeners to think about.
I do. With technology changing the real estate world so quickly, how can title closers use those advancements to not only make their own work easier, but also improve the experience for their clients?
That's a good one. Using those innovations, but still keeping that personal touch.
Exactly. So keep learning, exploring, and pushing the boundaries in this exciting world of real estate.
That's a wrap for our title closer deep dive. Thanks for listening, And we'll see you next time for another exciting topic.